Hi guys, it's Mrs. Hill. This is our last lesson, or lesson 4, on our book Potato, A Tale from the Great Depression. We will finish reading the book today. We will read pages 26 through 32. We will continue to visit those story elements that we have been looking at across our skill sheet this week. Character, setting, what was the family's problem, and how did the family resolve their problem, or how did they solve their problem. So as we finish our story today, I will go back and review your skill sheet with you. This book is also an AR book. I'm going to post the AR number in your Google Classroom for you as an assignment, and you can go to your Clever page and log on to Renaissance and log in and take an AR test. It's a 3rd grade level book, a 3.0 level book, and you'll start accumulating those AR points as well. So we're going to start today in our story. We're going to start with pages 26 and 27 is where we're going to start, but we're going to go back and do a little bit of a review. Yesterday, the family had packed up a bunch of potatoes in some old burlap sacks they had purchased, and they packed their car and put potatoes everywhere they could, and they were headed back home. So as we look at the illustrations for today's part of the story, looks like they're at a store. They might be buying something. They might be trading potatoes for something. Not real sure yet. We'll find that out as we read. The next illustration has a pig on a leash, and it looks like Dorothy has grown up a little bit maybe, and she's walking around with a pig on a leash. So we'll see what that's all about. This illustration looks like Clarence and Agnes and Dorothy have maybe moved back home or into a home. It looks like they're inside and they've unpacked all of their things. So we'll see where they are. And the last illustration has 3 little kids sitting on a bed. There's that kitty cat again. Looking out the window. It looks like it's nighttime out there, so maybe they're getting ready to go to bed. We'll see. In the last page, here's the same character that we met at the beginning of our story. So we'll go back and read this. We'll see how the story ends. We'll see if we need to add any new characters to our story. And we will see if the setting changed again. We will also talk about the family's problem and what they did to solve their problem. When they got back home, Clarence and Agnes traded potatoes for other things. Groceries, clothes, and even a pig. They worked very hard to live on what little they had. At last, Clarence found a job, and the family moved to Washington, D.C., and then to Hawaii. Soon, Dorothy had 2 baby brothers, Bob and Gary. Late at night, Dorothy told the boys stories of potatoes and how they were picked by the light of the moon. All this could be how I have come to like potatoes. So this person is the one that was telling us the story. We met her all the way back here at the beginning. Remember, she was sitting at a table, looked like she was writing, had the book there, and we met her all the way back at the beginning. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish up our skill sheets, and as you look at your assignment in Google Classroom where it says skill packet, these documents pull up when you click on that. If you accidentally turned yours in, I've already returned it to you. So what you'll do is you'll go to the first page of that assignment, and we didn't really meet any new characters today, but the setting did change on page 26. The setting changed a couple different times, really. Here they are in a grocery store. Here they are walking that pig. Let's go with this one. They were at the grocery store. So that is one place that the family visited. So we're going to consider that a setting change. We're going to put grocery store. That's on page 26. Okay. Then the last place that the story takes place looks like they're at home. So they are back home. And their home has changed locations, but we're going to consider that they are back home. Okay, so I need you to fill those two setting locations in, the grocery store and home. They started off at home and they finished at home. In the meantime, they moved away. So the setting changed many different times as the story progressed. The family's problem, we identified those on page 9 and 13. So let's go back and do that. Take a look at that in case you need an extra minute to fill that in. The family's problem, the initial problem is on page 9. Clarence lost his job. So you will need to fill that in. On page 9 was the first place the problem was indicated. And then over on page 13, it tells us he's unemployed. So we're going to still unemployed. It was a long road there. So that's the problem. He lost his job. He was unemployed. He wasn't able to earn any money to take care of his family. Okay, so those two things you'll need to go back and fill in on pages 9 and 13. And how did they solve their problem? They solved their problem by, on page 27, right here on page 27, they worked very hard to live on what little they had. So I think that might be a good answer to our question at how did they solve their problem. They worked very hard. So you can fill in, you can write a complete sentence for me, that would be great. They solved their problem by working very hard. Okay, so once you finish that skill sheet, at the very top of your document, if you'll scroll all the way up, you'll see a little box that says 1 and 2. If you'll hit the forward arrow, that's where the second sheet comes up. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan these and I'm going to post them in Google Classroom so you can look at them as well. We are going to add one last sentence at the bottom. This has kind of been one of those answers that we've been developing or adding to all week long. The first sentence that we wrote to answer this question, I think this story is called Potato because, and you just had to come up with a fun reason why you thought it was called Potato. The second part of our question says, why are potatoes so important in this story? Potatoes are important in this story because Then you had to think about a little bit how potatoes were becoming important to the family we met in the story. And the sentence we're going to add today, I now know potatoes were important in the story because. So as we read through the entire story, it became more and more obvious why potatoes were important. Okay? So think about that for a little while. If you need to go back and watch the videos, you may do that. I will post the AR test number in your Google Classroom so that you can go take an AR test as well. Okay, down here at the bottom, we're not going to draw a picture of your favorite part. I tried to do that and it didn't work too well, so I'm going to put a big X through that. If you guys have any questions, I will be available. Thanks a bunch.